Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. We are getting back to the beach. The sun is shining here now. We have finally had a break from a month's worth of rain, and yeah, I was feeling the beach vibes again. So this video is fully inspired by the incredible Resin Ace, who did a message in a bottle in an ocean in a cube. It was pretty amazing, but I'm just doing it in a bottle. I hope you really enjoyed the video as much as I enjoyed filming it. I am starting off with these 4 bottles here. Now they are all from various sources, mostly Amazon or eBay, and you can pretty much get them in any craft store. In fact, I would say some of them are even from the works or the range as well. I'm going to be using 2 different blue alcohol inks by Let's Resin, and I'm also using some of these white stones that I got from the garden centre. They're kind of just designed for your plant pots to make them a little bit more decorative. And I'm also using some miniature seashells. Now, these are all in a bag from Resin Ace, but they're not all from Resin Ace because I'm pretty sure I bought a ton from Amazon and just pretty much bag them up in the easiest places possible. But they are super cute miniature shells. Now, my plan is with this big bottle, I'm going to do the main feature in the big one, and then this diddy tiny little bottle here is going to hold a message which is going to float in the ocean of the big bottle. That is the plan in my head. I had to really test out my bottles to see which ones fit, and these 2 fit perfectly. That little one goes in perfectly. So that is the plan of the video, and I hope it works. For the other 2 bottles, they are just different sizes, so I am going to go ahead and do a straightforward ocean in each of those and hopefully turn them into something at the end. For all of the bottles that I'm using, I'm just using some dried sand. Now, I bought a bag of play sand a long while ago, and it does come quite wet, so I had to like scoop out and dry some out each time I needed to use some. I ended up putting it all in a bag, and it just makes life so much easier. With the resin I'm using is from Vista. It's Vista Cascade is the name of the resin I'm using. But I've just mixed a ton of sand in there and getting ready to pour it into these bottles. Now again, you could use pipettes, you could use syringes, anything that would work easier for you. Because I've got these silicone cups and they've got that spout, I'm able to close that spout quite tightly so I'm not spilling this absolutely everywhere. And all I'm going to do is put a little bit of sand in each bottle, and then I'm going to be able to drop in some pebbles and shells. Now, looking back, even when I was editing the video, I thought you should have waited a bit longer to drop those pebbles and those shells. But the end result was still worth it, because as I drop the pebbles, you'll see that they started to sink quite quickly because I hadn't left that resin to cure for very long. I would maybe next time leave it for around about 25-35 minutes before I drop these pebbles in. You can see here it goes straight to the bottom, but yeah, it was fine because then I just put more on top and they stayed, so it was absolutely fine. Ideally, you just don't want much in there because they're not going to sink to the bottom of the glass if you don't have much sand in there to start with. This little one was so tricky. I had to find the tiniest pebble to go in there, but I still wanted a pebble in there. Even though that little one is going into the big one, I still wanted to do an ocean in a bottle, if that makes any sense at all. But yeah, here you see me now. I start selecting some shells. And I just dropped the shells in there, and then I ended up using a cocktail stick to maneuver them and move them into the position that I wanted to. This was not a good idea. I mean, it wouldn't even come off the stick, so don't do that. Just don't do that. Drop them in, and then get your cocktail stick or your toothpick, and yeah, just play around and get them in the position that you wanted. This was definitely one of those projects where I had to let go of what I had in my head, because yeah, half of them sank and then half of them landed upside down, and it was a struggle to get them to sit around the right way. But I was more than happy with the end result. And here is a bird's eye view of what they look like inside the bottles. Thought I'd get creative, but my camera didn't want to play the game. Now the next thing I'm doing, this was something that Resin Ace did on his video because he made 2 very similar videos. He made the first one using clear resin over the shells and the things that were at the bottom of the ocean. because if you use clear resin directly on top, then you really get to see those items. And then people suggested he goes straight in with the blue. So he did a comparison video, and I definitely love the clear on top of the shells, because even when the blue's in there, it still looks oceany, but you can really see those shells underneath. Now, what I did to get rid of the air bubbles, I actually used my heat gun against the glass. And big mistake, but everything happens for a reason. The universe was speaking to me. The big one on the right hand side went exothermic. Not ideal. The other three, I decided to leave them after the mistake with the first one, but it turned out to look like crashing waves against the sand. And I just, honestly, I was heartbroken at first, but actually when I looked at it and realized how stunning it looked, yeah. Don't aim for exothermic reactions, guys. It's not the best or safest way, but it happened. I didn't have any more bottles in that size, and yeah, I decided I was going to fall in love with it instead of being disappointed that the project wasn't going to plan. But hopefully you'll see with the end result, it really does look like crashing waves. So yeah, everything happens for a reason. I feel like the universe spoke. So after the clear resin has all cured in those bottles, the last step then is to just add the blue. This is actually such a simple project. I added a couple of drops of the blue ocean and 1 drop of the turquoise green. I honestly thought that blue ocean would be more blue, but then I realised this is more Maldives than it is Southend on Sea. If you know Southend, you know. Now, this is my message. I decided to put out into the universe, if anyone is here that believes in positive manifesting, I decided to manifest a message on this little message in my bottle. And that was a really ambitious, I'm getting really ambitious here, 50,000 subscribers by August is my ultimate dream goal. Some might say it's far-fetched, including myself, but I thought, you know, there has to be a message in this bottle, and I wanted it to be a positive that I'm putting out into the universe, and the universe is going to bring it back to me. That's the theory. That's the theory in manifesting. So this is what I did. I then covered that tiny strip of paper in sellotape. Now, if you're putting plain white paper from your printer into resin, it needs to be laminated or covered in sellotape. Otherwise, the resin will get into the paper and just destroy it. So that's what I did, and it's so cute. If I could honestly, I should give you the measurements of this. It was diddy. It was so tiny. That's my message in my bottle. Putting it out into the universe. The next step is to put that message in a bottle, in the bigger bottle, before I fill it completely with the blue resin. Now at this stage it was working out how to get it to sit in that big bottle at an angle, so I ended up shoving a cocktail stick down into the cork lid and sellotaping it in place so that when I pour the blue around it, it will stay. And it worked a dream. It really did work. It was fiddly at first. It took my brain a while to process that and work out that actually shoving a stick in the cork is probably the best way to go, but because it's so tiny, if you're working on bigger projects, you could probably find much better ways to do it, but this worked, and that's fine. And then I just filled up these other two right to the very top so that when I put the corks back in, the corks would touch the resin and stay there forever. I wouldn't have to worry about those corks coming out. This colour just makes me want to go to the ocean. Let me know if you guys, well, if you've been here this long, congratulations, it's nearly 9 minutes long. Massive shout out to my patrons. My patrons actually chose my thumbnail for this video. I created 3 different thumbnails and I put them on my Patreon page, and every single patron chose the 3rd one. Guys, I was going to go with the first. So it just goes to show that finding out what other people are looking for, what grabs other people's attention, really works. So thank you so much, patrons. This is a close-up look at those crashing waves. It really worked. Again, I did not want an exothermic reaction, but the fact that it happened really just, I could not have asked for it to come out any better. Now, the plan for these bottles. I was having a think about it. This tiny one is going to become a necklace. So I've got some of this necklace black rope that I wrapped around a few times, and we'll tie a knot at the back, and that's pretty much job done. And with the second one, I decided to go with a magnet. And that is just 3 items all done. Necklace, fridge magnet, and what do we call it? An ornament or a paperweight? Something like that. So the necklace is done, and then I used Gorilla Glue. If anyone uses this stuff, it is so strong, it's unbelievable. It's definitely not for the hair, it's for, you know, arts and crafts projects. But I use these magnets. Now, I got these magnets a long while back from Amazon. They are so strong, I can barely get them apart. But they're double-sided magnets, so it doesn't matter what side you put down on your piece, it will automatically stick to your metal surface. So I do plan on having it on my fridge. And this is the Gorilla Super Glue that I used. I stuck it on the back, and that was it. And I honestly have loved making all of these. I also might have made a few more because I did get a box of bottles, and I thought, while I'm here, I'll do it. Let me know what you think of this big one. Look at those crashing waves from that exothermic resin, honestly, and that tiny little message. Honestly, I think I'm loving the miniature, and yeah, let me know what you think, and I hope you've enjoyed every minute of the video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!